What you're looking at on the screen is one of the greatest fights in heavyweight history that never got made. That never happened. And it was there in history to happen. These fighters were fighting in their prime. These fighters were fighting in the same era, same time zone. And it's a shame and a tragedy. Number one, for the fans, that it never happened. Number two, for boxing, that it never happened. And number three, for history, that it never happened. Because this fight, we would have been talking about till this day. David Haye is fighting Luis Ortiz. Man, I hope it measures up to Tyson Tua. Anthony Joshua is fighting Tyson Fury. Man, I hope that fight measures up to Tyson Tua. That's what we would have been saying in this day and time if Tyson Tua would have happened back in the day. But unfortunately for us, and unfortunately for history, and unfortunately for boxing, this great fight never happened. It was there. It was in the palm of the powers that be's hand to make this fight happen. Think of great heavyweight fights like Ali Frazier. Think of great heavyweight fights like George Foreman, Ron Lyle. Think of great fights like Hagler Hearns. This fight would have smoked those fights. This fight would have been the top fight ever, in my opinion. This fight was, you would have never went wrong with this fight. Everything was right about this fight. The promotion would have been right. Everything was right with this fight. These two styles mimicked each other. They mirrored each other. These two men mirrored each other. They were the same height, same reach. The power was, and devastation was equal in these two men. Click on, now that you're on YouTube, click on David Tua knockout highlights. Watch that 5-minute video, and you will be entertained every second of that video. I guarantee you, if you don't know who David Tua is. The world knows who Mike Tyson is. Mike Tyson is well known in the 80s, 90s for being the baddest man on the planet. He was known as around that time. He had the famous game Mike Tyson's Punch Out that everybody had around the 80s with the famous Nintendo. Mike Tyson was known and still is known worldwide. But there was a man around the same time that Tyson was fighting that was just as dangerous, just as ruthless, just as devastating and deadly as Mike Tyson. And his name was David Tua Man Tua. They had, now let's size the fighters up. Who would have won the fight? Who had better skills? Let's look at some of the variables. These were come forward fighters. They rarely took steps back to box, because that's not who they really were. That wasn't their nature. That wasn't really their style. These fighters were both around 5'10", 5'11", around the same reach. They both had the same disadvantages in the heavyweight division because they were shorter than their opponents. But most of their opponents were 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 220 to 260 pounds that these guys were fighting. But yet, it was the bigger guys, the taller guys, the rangier guys, the heavier guys that were at a disadvantage. Because Tyson and Tua had great head movement. Tyson covered his range with his footwork and angles. He could angle with his footwork and land punches at angles and get into position, angle into position with his footwork when he was in close quarters. Slip punches and get inside with devastating hooks and uppercuts, straight right hands. But that's the same way David Tua fought. Now, when it comes to footwork and angles, positioning, that goes to Tyson, and that's a very crucial variable in this fight if it would have took place. So Tyson had the better footwork and angles and positioning as far as throwing punches and being in better position to punch. I give that to Tyson. Who had the better chin, in my opinion? It was David Tua. Because David Tua was never knocked out in his career. And he was in there with just as many deadly punches as Tyson was. Power. Who had more power in their punches? Who was more devastating in their one-punch knockout power? In my opinion, it was equal. They both had around the same level of punching power. I give Tua just a slight edge on that punching power, just slightly. Who had the faster punches? I give that to Tyson. Tyson was faster in his punches. Who had the better combination punching? I give that to Tyson as well. Tyson had the better combination punching. In part because he was faster, he slipped punches with his head movement. He had better head movement than Tua, and he could position himself with his footwork to land his combinations better and more efficiently than David Tua, who had the better endurance, who could endure more and had more heart. I give that edge to David Tua because if things weren't going Tyson's way, like we seen in the Buster Douglas fight and in the Evander Holyfield fight, Tyson had tendency to wither down, wear down, mentally, emotionally, and then physically. But Tua was less likely to do that. although he did wither down and didn't take that many chances in the Lennox Lewis fight, Tyson fought and tried his best in the Lennox Lewis fight, but ended up getting knocked out for his efforts. And Tua was a little bit more conservative in that fight. That's a fight they have in common, but that doesn't do it justice in what these two would do to each other in their fight. This fight will be a toe-to-toe. Come forward. These fighters would as soon as that bell ring, these fighters will come forward and fight. There was no backing up. This fight would have been a chest-to-chest, elbow-to-elbow, short left hook to short left hook, short uppercut to short uppercut, no space in between type of fight. And somebody would have got knocked out. Point blank, period. Now, there's been fights recently that were worth billions of dollars. Like the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. And this fight would have been better than the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. If there was a fight that was worth billions of dollars, this fight was it. This fight would have delivered. I would have paid $200 to watch this fight. Point blank, period. And I would have got my money's worth to the penny for this fight. And I would have been a happy paying customer for this fight. It's a shame for history that it never happened. That's all I gotta say. You guys have a good one.